Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Kev's Hobby Showcase. I'm, of course, Kevin. You may have also seen me on Tabletop Jones Productions, where John and I are the 288s playing board games. And today, well, it's the first of the month. Time for episode 2 of The New Age of Heroes. That's right. My story that I've written and I am showcasing here on the showcase. And so when we left off, I was still on the first part of my story, which is Cyber Soldiers. When we left off, the Cyber Soldiers had attacked the base of the general that they are rebelling against, and unfortunately were repelled. They were a bit unprepared on purpose, actually, because as we all saw, it was misinformation that they had, and also that basically what they were planning on doing failed pretty miserably, and when they got back. Well, they had a little surprise when they got back, and I'll be getting more into that in this part. So we're going to start. Of course, it was last month. It was chapters 1 through 4 of my story. So now it's going to be chapters 5 through 8. I'm going to do 4 at a time. All right, so let's get to it. Chapter 5: Upgrades. The four regarded their house guests with a lot of caution. Betty was attending to Charlie's injuries while Adam and Danny were getting ready to interrogate this Larry Snow. They were looking up any information they could get on him, including using their link. He was in fact a computer scientist, considered a master programmer too, as was his brother Rick, who seemed to disappear at the time of their escape. I can tell you were all using the link. You know that link has greater capacity than what you use it for. It can gather information you want just by using keywords. It can pretty much run on autopilot while you perform other tasks. I bet the general had his tech lackeys install blocks to its full potential. What do you know about the project? About us? Well, Adam, have I got a tale for you. Okay, before the fall of society, General Summers had an idea on how to force the populace into submission. He wasn't wrong in thinking we were on the road to ruin, but he went about solving it in the wrong way. He wanted soldiers totally obedient to him, and him alone, to suppress any uprisings. Originally, he wanted to use dead soldiers to be made into cyber soldiers, but the ones in power at the time couldn't stomach that idea. So he relented to the idea of soldiers who were alive but mortally wounded. That's where you four come in. You mean those papers we signed? Yep, Danny, that's right. Those papers gave them permission to turn you all into what you are now and to tell your families that you died in the line of duty. There was never any going home for you all. There was only servitude to the general. He has been ruthless in his endeavors to create his cyber soldiers and have them totally and without question obedient to him. But wait, there had to be officials who opposed this. That there were, Adam, and one by one they all met with unfortunate accidents, if you know what I mean. General Summers has done whatever he deemed necessary to keep this project alive, but also very secret. I doubt the current president even knows about it. Summers has been ruthless, killing anyone who has opposed him or failed him. My brother, I know, is one of those he had killed. In fact, I hacked it into their security feeds and found out the bastard killed him himself. Wait, you hacked into their security feed? How? Listen, Adam, I have lots of skills when it comes to computers. So did my brother. Our intention was to free all of you, then let Calmer sort it out for the general. Your intention was to free us? That's a lot of concern for just 4 people with cybernetic enhancements. My God, you still don't know. Adam, there are dozens of soldiers in stasis tubes like you 4 were. Dozens of potential candidates for the project. Dozens of potential cyber soldiers just waiting to be deployed. Wait, are you freaking kidding? Dozens more like us? Yes, Adam. That's why I'm here. I can tell you 4 are good people. When you sought out your families, you chose to let them live in peace instead of disrupting their lives. You chose to keep to yourselves instead of forcing your will on the general populace. When you did lash out, you did it to the general. You're acting like protectors and not oppressors, so I want to help you all. How can you help? Danny, I can help by upgrading the software in your cybernetic implants, by unlocking your full potential. I can monitor you all during your missions. I can keep things running in this place and make sure the explosives never go off without your authorization. Yes, I know about the explosives. I would have done the same myself. I can also show you where the rest of the warehouses are so you can have multiple bases ready to be used. Okay, what do you get out of this arrangement? Payback on the bastard who killed my brother. That's what I get, Adam. Well, that and a satisfaction that I'm helping the greater good. The greater good? Yes, Adam. I see great things ahead for you four. The four used the link to decide. They were going to accept Larry's offer. They all figured they had nothing to lose. Besides, at the first sign of treachery, the four figured they could kill him before he even saw it coming. They all agreed they will accept his offer. Okay, welcome aboard, but we're going to give you a code name. We don't want to use your real name while on missions. That's great, Adam. I was thinking something like Overwatch or Guardman or something cool like that. No, we're calling you Father. You're joking. Oh. Oh, no, you're not. Really? Father? It's that or nothing. Okay, Adam, fine. One day you'll see that it's lame and let me change it to something cool. It's the alphabet thing they use to make up all your names, right? Okay, whatever. Let's get Charlie patched up. Larry grabbed some equipment from the storage locker that the four couldn't identify, and left in a miscellaneous area of the warehouse. Warehouse. He removed Charlie's chest plate and plugged the cord into what was always thought to be a scar near his left shoulder. You should all have this mark in the same place. It's not a scar, but a port. You all have nanotechnology in your cybernetic implants. This machine starts an accelerated healing process. Unfortunately, the healing can't be done without it. You can still heal from wounds, but this machine does it in record time. The nanotech is very basic, and it's that way for a reason. If left unchecked, the nanotech would take over your body. This way, they do whatever is needed and go inert. The four saw Charlie's wounds close and his bones reset in seconds. Before their eyes, Charlie became good as new. Then Larry unplugged the machine and put it away. Give him some rest time and we'll start the upgrades. Upgrades? Yeah, Adam. I can reprogram all your implants to perform at their full potential. You'll all be faster, stronger, and able to complete mental tasks in seconds. Your internet access will greatly improve, and your link will have greater range. Also, your internal storage capacity will be near infinite. The military already thought it was, but they think too small. I saved the best for last. The upkeep of your fusion batteries will not only be more efficient, but the failsafe the general had installed will be permanently severed. What failsafe? He had a trigger installed to detonate the fusion batteries if any of you rebelled. He hasn't done it yet because, first, he still thinks he can still get you all back to lobotomize you. Second, and this is the worst one, he knows the blast radius will be for miles, and the radiation will linger for years after. So as long as he doesn't have you in an isolated and remote area, he won't trigger it. It's not because he cares about human life. It's because he knows if he does this, the whole world will turn against him. He would lose his power. But you can get rid of that. You bet I can. The only one better than me was my brother Rick. That's how he was recruited into the project. Okay, let's get to work. For the next few days, Larry got to work on the four. He spent hours each day upgrading the cybernetic implants of the four. He showed them what equipment was useful and what was obsolete. He upgraded the weapons as well as the vehicles. Esther was a big project for him. Every system was upgraded. The weapons, the defensive systems, and the flight systems too. Everything in the warehouse was upgraded, even the warehouse's security system. Everything. After about a week, Larry was exhausted and the four were very pleased. They tried out every upgrade. They were indeed more agile, faster, stronger, and their computer capabilities were now far superior to what they were before. All right, said Adam. Let's plan a little return to the General Summers base. I think you'll be a little surprised this time. Chapter 6. Back to base. The four prepared for their return to General Summers' base. They armed themselves with plasma rifles, pistols, and a few grenades each. Esther was armed too. They loaded missiles and ammo for their cannons. They also familiarized themselves with the new camouflage capabilities. Esther was virtually undetectable now, and the four could almost disappear entirely, and none of that could be disrupted now. Larry took his place at the main computer monitor to oversee the whole operation. He had a direct link to every one of the four. He also had a total indication of Esther's systems. He could warn them of any problem with Esther as well as any danger that waited for them in the field. The four took off with full confidence that this time the mission would be successful. They were better prepared for what lay ahead. Their upgrades were functioning perfectly, and the link kept them in constant contact. Esther's upgrades were also satisfyingly perfect. The weapons were noticeably more powerful, and the defensive systems were more effective. Also, the stealth mode was exceptional, impervious to what the General used to disrupt it. The ship could disappear using the same technology as the four were using. It was also able to suppress the sound the engines made, so it couldn't be seen or heard. All right now, we'll see what we can do against the General's forces, said Adam. I've been itching for this rematch. We are inbound and should be there in about 15 minutes, said Danny. Okay, engage the camouflage. We're going in invisible and silent. I should have silenced that. You got it, Adam. Am I providing air cover again? Yeah, Danny. When I give the signal, open fire on the base and turn it to rubble. With pleasure, boss. Betty and Charlie were in the hold, making sure all their weapons were ready to go. They had them all lined up and ready to grab as they exited the craft. Both had a very determined look on their face, the kind of look that showed the mission was the only thing on their minds, the kind of look that showed that their commitment to victory. Coming up on the General's base, said Danny. I don't see any evidence that we're detected. No alarms, no activity on the ground, nothing. Good, said Adam. Prepare to execute our plan on my signal. Meanwhile, in the General's base, there were indeed no alarms going off. Everything seemed business as usual. Soldiers were going about their normal routines. Technicians were staring at blank screens, not expecting a thing to happen. Even the General was enjoying some rare downtime. Then it happened. Explosions were heard outside the base. The General immediately was alert and in the control room barking orders. What's on the security monitors? How did we not know we were under attack? But all the monitors showed were armed trucks and vehicles that were outside the base were blowing up. They traced the shots to an empty sky where missiles were appearing from out of nowhere and hitting all the assets the General had outside his base. Scramble all personnel. Get outside and stop this attack. With that order, every soldier instantly alert grabbed their gear and went to defend the base. Meanwhile, outside, the four in Esther were closing in on the base. Okay, close enough, Betty. Okay, close enough. Betty, Charlie, on me. We'll get this done right this time. Danny, keep taking out armored vehicles. If they launch any aircraft, shoot them down. All replied, yes, sir. Adam, Betty, and Charlie hit the ground running. To the soldiers in their area, it looked like they appeared from out of nowhere. Camouflage on, ordered Adam, and they all disappeared. They reached the door to enter the base, but this time they were ready. The explosive had a much higher yield. Fire in the hole, shouted Charlie, and the door disappeared in a bright, fiery blast. All right, everyone, let's do this, said Adam, as they all entered the base. Once inside, they all moved cautiously. They may not be seen, but they still didn't want to do anything that would give away their position. As they moved through the base, they encountered guards, soldiers, and other personnel. But they were all just a distraction. They weren't aware of that. General Summers had planned for this type of situation. He rushed to where he had a convoy ready to leave the base. Once there, he was united with soldiers, scientists, and technicians loyal to him. They left immediately, leaving everyone he left behind to deal with the attack. Adam, Betty, and Charlie were able to subdue most of the personnel left. Others they had to shoot. But none of them stopped them from their objectives. As they moved through the base, they paid attention to the rest that on the way out, they stopped here, and they all understood why. Adam, Betty, and Charlie moved further into the base, dispatching personnel as they went. They finally reached the control room and found it empty. The General already evacuated. Danny, is the General leading the attack on you? No, boss. He isn't here, and no one here is attacking. You can't attack what you can't see or hear. I'm having a blast blowing things up out here. You all about done in there? Yeah, look for us to come out where we came in. Damn coward ran. Well, at least we can blow the hell out of his place. Betty, can you access the computer system? Already got it up and running. Are there any more like us here in stasis tubes? No. I have the room on the security feed and it's empty. Damn. Charlie, are the explosives set? Yeah, I've been placing them on the way here. I also did a little fast running and got them in a few choice areas. This place should make quite a blast when we detonate. All right, let's make our way out. A quick stop at the morgue first. Yes, Betty, I know. Let's go. So Adam and Betty and Charlie began to swiftly make their way out of the base, carrying what looked like a body bag. The stop at the morgue was quick as promised, and they were outside in no time. Dane was right there to pick them up. Once they were all inside, Danny took Esther into the sky and began their return trip home. As they made their ascent, the base blew up in a brilliant blast. Nothing was left when the dust settled. The base was gone. Meanwhile, in the convoy escaping the attack, General Summers was checking for any communication from his strike team, from Sergeant Stryker. Nothing for weeks, sir. He and his team have gone dark. That son of a bitch, the general grabbed his phone That son of a bitch. The general grabbed his phone and called one of his lieutenants. Start a search for Stryker. Now. He'll answer for this dereliction. Meanwhile, back in New York, the four arrived home. They landed in the warehouse and disembarked with a body bag. What did you bring back a dead body for? Asked Larry. The four unzipped the bag, revealing his brother Rick. So you can give him a proper burial, said Betty. Larry looked at the four with tears in his eyes. Thank you, he said as he embraced each of them. A few days later, Larry and the four laid Rick Snow to rest. It was a small and brief ceremony since they were all technically fugitives in hiding. As they were leaving the cemetery, they saw a group of 12 men watching them. One of them approached. Hello, folks. My name is Sergeant Lance Stryker. I was hired to apprehend you all or kill you if capture was impossible. The four were preparing for a firefight. See, the thing is that I've seen what you are all capable of, and no amount of money that blowhard of a general promised will make me commit suicide. I value the lives of my men, and mine too. Too much to just throw them away. So here's what I'm thinking. Me and my team just leave, and I mean leave the country. There's money to be made elsewhere, and you all don't come after us. Deal? It took a second for the four to come to an agreement. Deal. Oh, just a word of warning. The government knows about you all. We caught wind of it as we were surveilling you all. Don't be surprised if you get a visit. That last bit troubled the four. The new government was just that, new. They didn't know if it could be trusted. They all decided they would deal with it when the time came. So they all decided that immediately after the funeral wasn't the best time for a decision like this. So the four and Larry somberly started their way home. But Adam couldn't help but think, great, another problem to worry about. Chapter 7. The Big Reveal. The four returned from the cemetery with a sense of foreboding, learning that the new government knew about them didn't sit well. In fact, they put the warehouse on high alert. All defenses were activated in case there was an unexpected visit, especially if that visit involved armed soldiers. What they all did find was that there was a message on their main computer. They were all a bit confused about how it got there. It had to be someone who knows the system, or someone very good at hacking, Larry thought. Larry opened it and they all read it. Hello, cyber soldiers and Larry Snow. We have been monitoring you for some time now. General Summers is a problem, but one that we haven't been able to deal with. We thank you for your efforts to slow down his project. We know, however, that you only stopped a small portion of his grand scheme. We would like to meet so that together we can accomplish great things for our country. Sincerely, President Samuel Xavier. Okay, so I have no idea how they got this message to us, said Larry. As far as I knew, no one could penetrate this computer system. All right, let's not panic, said Adam. Do we want to meet with this president or not? Well, if we did, we can at least know who we're dealing with, said Danny. Yeah, and then we'll know if we even want to deal with him, said Betty. I don't know, said Charlie. Once we meet with him, it can't be undone. Can we even trust this guy to leave us alone if we don't want to work with him? Adam stood in the middle of the group. Well, they know about us. We can't change that. If we try to ignore him, we'll just make doing anything from this point harder. I say we meet with him, hear what he has to say, then deal with what to do next then. Who knows? We might come to a compromise that benefits all of us. Stranger things have happened. Everyone nodded in agreement, even Larry. Guys, I just want to thank you for coming to this conclusion by talking it out, and not using your link. This affects you too, Larry. It wouldn't be right to cut you out of the decision making, said Adam. So Larry sent a message back. We agree to meet in a neutral spot, General. General Summers' base in New Jersey is rubble. We will meet you there in 3 days. Larry kept it short as to not give away any information or infer any concern of an ambush. The response was an immediate yes. In 3 days, the four used that time to heal and repair any equipment that needed it. All their armor was not only repaired of any dings and dents, but polished until they could see their reflections in it. They all wanted to look their best as well as imposing. The four wanted this president to take them seriously and know they won't be controlled again. The day finally came, and the four and Larry boarded Esther and flew out to the meeting place. It didn't take long to get there. They circled around to make sure there weren't any surprises. To their astonishment, the president and his party of a half-dozen men were the only ones there. Turn off the camouflage, ordered Adam. Esther appeared in front of the president, and he was visibly surprised at the aircraft appearing very suddenly. Danny set Esther down, and the four and Larry disembarked and walked towards them. The president was a dark-skinned man, tall, with very short hair, and very fit for a 60-year-old. He wore a gray suit with what looked like a bulletproof vest under his jacket. "Okay, we're here," said Adam. "Before you say what you came to say, you will hear us first. We were sold a lie. We were told we were going to be made into super soldiers. What happened instead was we were taken from the battlefield and stored like meat. Our families were told we died in battle, so they moved on. We were then made into cyborgs that were supposed to be under control of a general with very questionable morals. But we're free now, and we intend to stay free. The code that can enslave us is deleted, thanks to our associate's brother, whom the general murdered. That code will not work on us again, thanks to our associate. Whatever you have planned for us must take into account that we are individuals with rights, and we are willing to fight for said rights. Is that understood?" "Oh, completely, Adam. I am not interested in automatons or slaves or anyone who is under some kind of control. If I wanted that, I would have sided with the general and ordered a squad for myself. No, I want to make it clear that we need free men and women, people who would give me sass, but I hope also respect. Respect is earned. Yes, I agree. So give me the chance to earn it. What do you have in mind?" "Things in this country are changing for the better. Most people are embracing the return of the old ways, but some are not. Some of those who are not are resorting to violence. Also, some make that a lot of people are being left behind and need help. That is where you all come in. That's where I need help, and in return, I can keep you in compliance with local and federal authorities." "Sounds great. What's the catch?" "You all must reveal yourselves to the public. You can't help from the shadows, and with all due respect, when in action, it'll be hard to hide you all. We won't reveal our real names. Our families think we're all dead. We can't cause the pain revealing our identities will cause. Second, it'll put a target on their backs, and we won't do that either." "Okay, then, use the code names. They'll be your identities from now on. We've been calling ourselves by those names anyway. All right, you have yourself a deal." "I've only heard from Adam. What about the rest of you?" "We've been discussing this the entire time in our link, so he's speaking for us all," said Betty. "What about you, Larry? Where they go, I go." "Okay, then, it's settled. We'll get our intel to you ASAP. Just let us know who you'll be going after so we can remove any moles we have there. But first, we're going to hold a press conference to introduce you all to the public." "Okay, when?" "In about an hour, Adam." "How did you know we'd accept?" "I didn't. I set up to deal with however this conversation ended." "I see," Adam said. He saw how dealing with this president was going to be like. The president will always be planning many steps ahead. This made Adam feel both proud to deal with such a leader and nervous if he ever turned on them. They would all have to be cautious. Adam kept these thoughts private for now and not in the link. The four and Larry flew Esther to the White House. There on the lawn, a group of reporters were already set up. "Looks like President Xavier was very sure we would agree to his terms," Charlie thought into the link. Once they landed, they saw Marine One landing nearby and President Xavier exiting. He called the four over to the podium and started his speech. "My fellow Americans, today is a great day for our country. The four individuals behind me have been through a great and trying ordeal. They have been lied to and experimented on under false pretenses, but instead of turning on their fellow man, they have promised to help. They already dealt a blow to the ones who violated them, but those individuals are still at large. Now we have protectors from those who would seek to harm us. I give you Adam, Betty, Charlie, and Danny, the four, your superheroes, your cyber soldiers." The four looked on as reporters started applauding, but they weren't the only ones. There were soldiers and civilians alike. People of all walks of life who attended this press conference with hope for the future. People who just happened to be in the area, all applauding. And if they could see those watching at home, the four would see that most of the country was applauding, cheering, and giving each other high fives. Everyone who welcomed back the old ways were welcoming their new heroes. Those who didn't want the old ways back were feeling dreadful. The new age of heroes was beginning. Chapter 8. Things to Come. General Summers and his scientists retreated to an underground bunker in a secret location in the Midwest area of the country. They transported all the stasis pods that were in the New Jersey base. He left behind the soldiers guarding the base as well as the rest of the equipment and weapons there. Yeltsing, Fuchs, are the pods secure? Yeltsing, yes, all the pods are functioning perfectly. Fuchs, all subjects are stable. The pods were added to the hundreds that were already stored there. General Summers looked at the storage area to view the rows and rows of candidates to become cyber soldiers. Thaw out the next 4 viable candidates. We'll start again immediately. The 4 were chosen and the program began. This time, strengthen the firewall so no tampering can be done to the code. This time the 4 will be my 4. Yes, sir, all the technicians said in unison. The general was made aware of the press conference with the 4 that escaped him. He watched as the president himself announced the support in them. He knew his job just got harder. He'll come after me. He'll send them after me. This won't do. Okay, listen up, people. The president has very much announced he is our opposition. He'll send the 4 after us, so we need to get these 4 new cyber soldiers ready. We need them to be totally loyal without any doubt. We need them to be more powerful than the previous 4. We can't suffer another defeat like this. Yes, sir, they all once again said in unison. The new candidates began to stir and open their eyes. They started to look around, then immediately just looked forward with blank looks on their faces. Sir, the programming is taking hold, said Dr. Yeltsing. We should have them under control in a few seconds. The new program is working fast, and a new firewall should stop any intruding code, especially any virus that Snow character can come up with. Snow? His brother was the technician that deleted the programming that kept the previous 4 under control. You killed him when he announced he'd freed them. He's almost as good as his brother was. Almost. Oh yes, I remember now. I was within my rights to execute that traitor. I'll do whatever it takes to keep this program successful. Now to business. I want you to start looking into making cyborgs of the dead. I want my undead soldiers. Yeltsing looked uneasy. He never liked the idea of undead zombie soldiers. But he knew the price for crossing the general. Yes, sir. The research suggests that those soldiers will be totally controlled by the programming. They would be totally susceptible to suggestion. The general was pleased to hear this. He looked out at all the stasis pods and began to plan out where he would acquire the corpses for this. He would push the boundaries of the sciences. He would have an army of cyber soldiers totally under his control, no matter who he had to kill or maim or ruin. Meanwhile, the 4 and Larry were preparing for a mission. This one was a rescue mission. A remote area of Florida hurricane damage left many people stranded without food, water, and power. The 4 were ecstatic to be on a rescue mission and not a search and destroy mission, like they thought they would always be used for. Food, water, and supplies were loaded into Esther. Even Larry was going on this mission. They all took off and headed south to their new destinies in this new life that they had started. In Washington, President Samuel Xavier sits in his office smiling. He can't stop thinking about the cyber soldiers and all the problems they're about to solve. He looked over the reports on his desk. There were others rising up to help people. Some using methods he approved, others using methods he didn't. One wasn't even human, but he was a robot. These heroes are going to usher in a most interesting time in our history, he thought. I need to be ready to lead us all through it. And that ends the part 1 of the New Age of Heroes, which is Cyber Soldiers. And next would be part 2, of course, would be the character Citizen. Citizen, I will give you a more formal introduction next month when I start, the first 4 chapters of Citizen's story arc. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy listening to me read this, read my work, read this story. Yes, I do stumble sometimes. Yes, I do stutter sometimes. I am, I'm trying to improve, reading stuff on camera. And eventually I will have something to put up on the screen so that you can actually see something related to the story instead of just me. Also, since it worked out so well last month, I will do the closed captioning, so not only will you hear me, but you could also read it on the screen. All right, so again, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video as much as possible. I'm trying to reach as many people as possible. I'm trying to draw as much attention not only to this channel, but to my new story, The New Age of Heroes. Also, please go to Tabletop Jones Productions, like, subscribe, and share over there as well. And, in the description, I will have links to the Discord so that we can talk directly. I will also have links to the Patreon channel for those of you who are not watching. For those of you who are not watching this on Patreon, And I will also have a link to my author page so that you can see other works that I've written and decide for, for yourself if you would like to take a chance on them. I hope you do. I mean, but just realize that this is the latest thing I've written, and in my opinion, the best. So anyway, again, thank you for watching. Again, I'm going to say, please like, subscribe, and share. And also, have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you again.